Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious, bright, sunny downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And hello to all our new friends at Raw Talk Online and, of course, all the major podcasting networks and so on and so forth. But yes, we are live, and I am not alone. Jenny is here at the news desk. What?
I'm fighting with my chair.
Oh, what's wrong with the chair?
It's okay.
Huh?
It's all better now.
Oh, okay. Was it too low?
Yes.
Because I find that...
this one sometimes sneaks all down.
Oh, I know. Because I know this because on Friday nights I sit there during Paul Cormier's show, Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And I'm every time I have to bring the chair. I bring it like all the way up because it gradually throughout the course of the show just gets lower and lower. Yeah.
It did that, and I was trying to fix it, and my jacket fell down, and I was sitting on my jacket, and I'm trying to fix the chair.
Yeah. Oh, well, everything's
It's
all right
Friday.
now.
It's
Yes,
Friday.
It is. It's
Yay.
Friday, February 26th, 2021. I want to remind you all, of course, that we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot. It's a great place to go on the weekend or anytime. Well, except Monday and Tuesday, because those are the days that they're closed. But the weekend being the traditional weekend, because it is Friday, of course. They are right across the street from us in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine.
And over there around 7 o'clock tonight, they'll have live music.
Yeah, do you know who's...
I do not.
Yeah.
I am terrible.
That's okay.
However, if you go to the Hop Knots Facebook page or Instagram, you will be able to see who's performing.
Yes, absolutely.
They're really good about remembering their information.
Yes.
I really think.
Yes.
You still owe me a pizza.
Oh, the pizza pretzel.
Pretzel pizza.
Or the pretzel pizza.
Pretzel pizza.
Yes.
Not pizza, it's pretzel pizza.
Absolutely. Is that Mike acting funny again?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, maybe not.
Is this good?
No, actually, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Weird?
No, it sounds fine now. For a second there, I thought it was it cut in and out a little bit, very subtly, like it was before when we had a problem with it a number of weeks ago. But I guess it's all right. Okay.
It's just me.
Yeah, no, it sounds
It
fine
doesn't
now.
like me.
No,
it always breaks when I'm around.
I think there was something wrong, but I think you're moving it around. Maybe there might be
Did I fix it?
I think so. There might be a cord that's loose or something.
Yeah, I don't touch any of the cords, right?
No, I know, but there might
my
be
own little headset thingies.
There might be a connection somewhere that's loose because that.
Are you trying to say I got something loose?
No, you fixed it.
Oh, good.
Yes. So anyway,
I'm glad.
All right. Well, let's give the numbers: 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007, and we have our first call of the show today. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hoo-ha.
Hoo-ha! It's Tony D from Philadelphia. How are you, my friend?
What's up, man?
Are you doing better? I know it's been a tough week for you.
It's been a tough 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
We love you.
I got a chance to go to the doctor's yesterday.
Oh, that's
And,
right. You mentioned you were going to be going to the doctor. Yes.
Yeah. And I talked to the I was there for 2.5 hours because I had a lot of questions. And they actually sat down and talked to me because they actually listened to my concerns about, the mental health crisis.
Yeah.
You guys familiar with the University of Pennsylvania? Are you guys familiar with that?
Not really. No, I'm not. Are
Not
you, Jenny?
specifically.
Jenny?
Not
No.
in relation to this, no.
They got clinics like all over the country that team up with like different hospitals and stuff across the country. They are allocating $26.5 billion in July to bring up these clinics. There's going to be 16 of them that are going to start here in Pennsylvania that are going to be urgent cares for mental health.
Oh, that's amazing.
Interesting.
That's amazing.
They're going to be they're going to be opening it up 24/7. They will administer medicine to calm you down there, get you into whatever program that you need to go to. And they said, and I said to him, I said, well, why is it that the hospital can't do that now?
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, he said, good question. He said, because the people that are in there, he goes, yes, you're coming in with mental health crisis, you're suicidal. He goes, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's not the same as someone coming in with cardiac arrest. He goes, because it's both a life and death situation. He goes, they're both life and death situations. He goes, the problem is that the influx of mental health is greater today than it's been in the last 10 years. And he said, especially in the last 2 years, the influx, because of the pandemic, has brought on new symptoms for new patients who have never experienced anxiety, who have never experienced depression, isolation, et cetera, et cetera. He said, so he goes, we try to do the best that we can by giving something like Vistarol, which is antihistamine, which is it's like a Benadryl.
Yeah.
And to calm people down. He goes, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. He goes, but then we got to refer people.
I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could use it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've been on that for years. So anyway, I'm just getting lost track here. So anyway, the conversation steered towards, well, what is the plan for bettering this system? He said, well, he goes, funny you should ask. He goes, I can tell you this. We're allocating like $26.5 billion. We're starting with 16 clinics that are going to be in the greater Philadelphia, New Jersey area that are going to be urgent cares, that are going to be strictly meant for mental health crisis, open 24/7.
Wow.
There will be three psychiatrists and 3 therapists on call 24/7, 365 days a year, starting in July. He told me the one where the first one's going to be, and it's in a really good area. And he said, and then we'll have different rooms for everything. He goes, and then if the crisis is greater than what that urgent care can hold, he goes, you will have the ability to transfer. Instead of sitting in a hallway for 6 hours, we will transfer you from right there to whatever hospital you need to go to that deals strictly with mental health. And then the University of Penn is building 2 more psychiatrical hospitals, one for long stay, one for short stay, and then also adding on to that an IOP program across the board.
I don't.
Pretty reassuring.
I was going to say I don't think I've heard of anything quite like this having been done anywhere.
No, not at all. In fact, I can remember. I don't know what it's like today, but a few years ago when I was working on the weekends, there was nobody. Nobody could be admitted anywhere on the weekends because there wasn't anybody on to do it. So they had to wait till Monday.
Yeah.
To have people on staff 24/7.
Yeah, this is a great concept.
To have a dedicated. This is excellent.
Yeah.
This is excellent. This is a good start. We need to go further. I want to do what they do overseas. They actually have clinicians on staff for the police departments. So if somebody calls in with a mental health crisis, there's a therapist that can go with them. Right.
We actually had when I was in my fire department, we had someone that came to those calls. They were on call. Like they had a pager, and like when it was like a psychiatric emergency.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
Like when it was like a psychiatric emergency, scene level 2, they will get dispatched out to come out to talk to the person. Also, we had that here, but we didn't have this. What we talked about yesterday. I did bring up some really, my concerns, and they literally listened to me, and I cried. I said, "Look, it's not a joke. Like, and I know you don't take it as a joke." I said, "But when you get into these bouts of like these moments where you just need something," he was like, "Well, that's where the clinic comes in." He goes, "You will come into the clinic, you will sit down, we will administer something, amongst us talking on like with their team of what we think is the best route to go. Get you calm, get you stable, and then talk to you about what do you want to do. This is what we're recommending. We think you should go here. But the fact is that they're going to get you stable.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not going to have you sitting in the hallway for 6 hours waiting for someone to, you're losing your mind in the hallway for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Not talking to anyone. You're going somewhere and they're directly focused on you. That is what we need. And they're going to be focused on getting you stable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested now. I want to see. He gave me the pamphlet on it and everything. It's covered by insurance, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I guess it's a start in the right direction.
Yeah,
but more needs to be done. It just can't start with one state. Every state needs to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Every state needs to do it, because if this is going to be like the starting model of something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every state should follow suit and say, you know what, if they're going to do it, we should do it too. Not wait for a trial and everything. Because, Jenny, it's going to work.
Oh, absolutely. Just the simple fact of having more clinicians available. I mean, while you're sitting in the hallway for 6 hours, there's one clinician working their way through. And that's part of it right there. Now, what you're saying, if they have 3 clinicians on and they have, therapists on, that's amazing. That's a life-changing, life-saving.
Who has it up and running right now?
Who does?
Right now, what state? Arizona.
Really?
Arizona has it up and running right now, and it's been running for like 6 months, and it's been a success.
I'd like to think.
I'd like to see that and more.
Yesterday.
I'd like to think something like that could be done here in New Hampshire, but it seems unlikely.
Why would you say that?
Because
it's such a struggle here. I mean, we had a dedicated children's facility. They closed. We have problems with, like I said, I don't know if it's the same way as it was, but just a few years ago when I was working, New Hampshire Mental Health, a hospital where everybody gets sent, wouldn't accept patients on Saturdays and Sundays. There was nobody in to receive a new patient. They had to be held in the ER. There was never enough spaces available anywhere for kids.
I think it's
kids and adults being housed in the same buildings. I mean, it's just, I hate our state's mental health. I think it fails miserably. Yeah. We should start. We could do a really easy thing just by having clinicians available for
the
police.
Demand is there. The states can't really. So that's like, that's pretty much how Pennsylvania works. And I go through a pretty serious university for my mental health stuff, because I can't go see just some guy down the street that works out of his house. And like I go through, like how you go through your stuff, Jenny, I go through studies and stuff with them with my TBI and stuff like that a lot. Like we go through a lot of scanning. We go through there's a lot of stuff that I go through every 6 months to make sure that my head injury isn't causing more damage than it already has.
Yeah.
But they have stated, yesterday that, Arizona has started it. Arizona has been succeeding with it. Arizona has a lot of vets that are there that are using the program more than the VA hospitals. They're going to open up these 16 units, and starting in July, you kind of sit back and you kind of say to yourself, like, all right, so there is hope. There is hope. There's another outlet, as I will call it.
See, here in New Hampshire, honey, our legislature has gutted more than once mental health. Every time we make a stride forward, I swear it seems like they throw us backwards.
When I was a kid, my dad worked at the the big state hospital in Concord, and then that got gutted. And
that's what I was talking about, like where they wouldn't take patients on the weekends, and we couldn't get placement. And I would, what the worst thing that I ever had to do in my life, I swear, I had a woman who was a mental health patient and needed to be transported to the mental health hospital. She had been accepted. They had a bed available. So what happens is the sheriff's department comes to the emergency room and they handcuff them behind their back and put them in this van. And this woman who is in utter terror and having the worst moment of her mental history ever.
Yeah.
And terrified of men. And I have to put her in the back of this van, handcuffed. And I have to convince her that it's safe and it's okay. And it was horrible to have to do that. Why do we do that to mental health patients? Why?
Yeah.
They're not a crime. It's not a crime to get
treat
sick.
A mental health patient as a criminal. You can't.
But
and
they
that
do.
Is the problem.
That's exactly.
That is the problem. That is the problem, because every time, I'm not going to lie to you, when I go through my bouts of PTSD, you get your mania, you get your craziness, you get your, as I call it, Hercules strength, and then you black out, and the cops take you as a threat, and they want to mace you, or they want to tase you, or they want to handcuff you, or zip tie you, or put a spit mask over you, whatever, or a bite mask, whatever it may be. But you might not be at that level, but this is what they're doing to you. So they're throwing you in the back of a police car, laying on your stomach. You're in total distress, and then they're transferring you to a hospital to then be handcuffed to either a bench
or worse,
or a bed,
or worse.
Or a bed.
Right now, we also have to realize that right now, medication is being used in the field inappropriately, in my opinion. And I don't care what anybody they can say I'm wrong. But we have that young black man who was having an issue. They called the police to help him. Pouring the rain. He's half naked in the street. You know, they put a spit mask on him. With the young kid that was autistic that they gave ketamine to and overdosed them and killed them.
Yeah.
Because they're having a mental health crisis, drugging them to death. It's wrong.
There was a 13-year-old kid about 2 weeks ago who was going through, I guess he was going through severe bullying and stuff like that. And I read these stories because it's my fight. And Matt, you know, I fight very hard for the mental health community.
Yes.
It's my fight.
Yeah.
This 13-year-old was being bullied. Wound up falling into a state of, I guess, psychosis. The police were called. The police tased him. The police maced him.
Jesus.
They locked him up. The little township that he's from now wants to press charges against him. And it's like, you look at this and then you say to yourself, why? He was going through something, and you just made him go through a lot more at 13 years old. Not only did you do that to him, but you're also just caused another part of mental crisis, which is trauma, something that he's never going to forget.
Yeah.
And it's always like, you know, when you're younger, when you see the firefighter come up and the kids, it's like, don't be scared of the firefighter. He's just because he's wearing all that gear, don't be afraid of him. He's here to help you. What kind of image are you spitting to a 13-year-old by doing something like that to him? And you're making that kid going to look at those cops and say, I'm scared of the cops because of what they did to me.
Right.
There's a recent story. I'm going to stop you for a second. There's a recent story I just saw the other night on online. There is a 6-year-old boy who was being criminally charged with a sexual crime because he touched a schoolgirl in his classroom. This child doesn't know what sex is, okay? And you're not supposed to. In fact, the state it's in, supposedly the law says you can't do a criminal charge under somebody under 12.
Yeah.
However, the zero tolerance policy demanded the school called the police before they called the kid's parents. Okay, 6 years old. 6. This is what we do to kids now in schools. Two kids get in a fight, we don't try and help them work it out. We call the cops. We give them a criminal record right at the get-go. We don't even let them out of our friggin' diapers before we're going to let them. Seriously, right. This is what we've become as a society. If we don't like it, we jail it. We criminalize it. We do it like kids be kids.
I had a doctor once tell me, and like it really peed me off pretty bad. Was it your upbringing or was it your surroundings? And I'm like, well, that's kind of like a catch-22 because my upbringing and my surroundings kind of fall hand in hand.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. That's a false choice. That's like that's like saying, do you want? Are
you in the doorway or out of the doorway while you're standing in the middle of the doorway?
Yeah.
Like, if seriously.
So my answer to that question was, well, here's my upbringing. I was raised by two beautiful parents, and I've always had what I needed, and I was taught the right ways from the wrong ways. And then in my younger days as an adolescent, yes, I made stupid decisions, but I don't think that played a role into what I deal with today, because I wasn't like, all right, I got arrested for breaking into my own house. That's as far as my criminal record goes.
You told us that. Yeah, like, you told us that story. Yeah. Yeah.
But like,
so
I don't have a
the
criminal
6-year-old
record.
has a record now that's sealed, but he has a record. It's there. He's 6.
Right.
It's going to stay there forever.
I went to college. I went to college. I got my degree. I had high honors with everything that I've done, and I'm not a dummy.
Yeah.
It's just that my life and the way that my brain works today is different. I got a chemical imbalance.
Right.
And I think that's what people misinterpret when it comes to someone with a mental illness. It's like, look, I'm not choosing to be like this. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not choosing to be erratic and to be off the wall and hyperactive. I have a problem. Just like you have a problem with, your elbow or your knee. I have a problem with my brain. And that's why when I did my show, that it's all in your head, that was the analogy that many people have told me before. Dude, it's all in your head. It's all in your head. You're right. It is all in my head. It's all in my head, and I deal with it every day.
There is something that people who've never dealt with any kind of mental illness like depression, there's something that people who've never dealt with that can't easily comprehend, and it's not particularly their fault. It's that if you're someone who's never experienced depression outside of the obvious, everyone at some point in their lives experiences depression, but for some people, it's only after maybe the loss of a loved one or some traumatic experience that would make anyone upset. But people who've never experienced clinical depression, where you're not necessarily, like when I fall into a bout of depression, it's not necessarily for any particular reason. I'll just kind of feel that dark cloud coming over me. And it's got certainly nothing to do with my childhood or anything like that. It's just, I've had a good life overall. It's just something that happens, but it's hard for people to, who've never experienced that, to understand it, and from their point of view, they're like, well, what do you have to be, what do you have to be sad about? It's like, no, you don't understand that there is no reason. It just is. It's just something that happens in my brain that I have to deal with. But again, it's not, some people are able to understand it just because some people are more empathetic than others. But there's also people who just don't, if they've never experienced that themselves, they have a hard time understanding it. And you kind of can't blame them.
You make such a really good point, because I find it easier today for me at 32 to deal with someone who's a doctor that's somewhere in the same age range as me. It's a little bit easier because they get it.
Interesting.
They get it. They understand it. I can't sit down with a therapist who's like 68 years old. It's just, I can't do it. I can't.
Way to be an ageist.
I understand what he's saying,
I get it. No, I do get it. I get it.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I can't do it.
You need somebody you can identify with and have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, if I can sit down with someone and I can be Anthony, right? Not take away the Tony part. I can be Anthony, and I can talk like Anthony, and I got a foul mouth, so I got the Philly cursing, and I can say, today was a real effed up day. Things went real south, and I was feeling like S, and I can talk like that. Literally. Yeah. And you talk back to me the same way that I'm talking to you, we've already got a connection.
Absolutely.
We've already got a connection, because you know what? You're getting me.
Right.
You're coming down to my level and you're understanding me. It's the people that when I sit down with, that they're like, well, maybe you should try sitting down and doing some breathing techniques and then maybe eat a jelly sandwich at the end. What?
Well,
no.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're sitting there going, I am envisioning throwing a brick at your head right now.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever told this on the air before, but the one and only time I've ever been to actually see a psychiatrist, it was about 20 years ago. And for me, and I tell this hesitantly only because I don't want anyone to take the wrong thing away from what I'm about to explain. So I'll clarify afterward to make sure that no one does take the wrong thing away from it. But my one time going to a psychiatrist, well, I actually went for 2 sessions, and she was an older woman. She was probably in her 60s. But, you know, I went to her because I was so depressed, and I was for the first time in my life, I was like, maybe I do need to be on something. And I went to see her. I don't even remember her name, which is odd because I'm excellent with names, but I cannot remember this woman's name. But I went to see her, and I don't know if it was because of the generation that she was from. She'd be like 80 now, if I'm right about her age. But it was exactly like the stereotype of what happens when you go to see a psychiatrist, in that literally she had me on the couch, stretched out on the couch, and she's asking me questions about my mother.
Oh, God.
It was exactly the stereotype. Well, tell me about your mother. Let's talk about your mother. And I'm lying there going, oh my God, this is like right out of a sitcom. I'm here, or Tony Soprano with Dr. Melfi, and and she wants to talk about his mother. Although in the case of Tony Soprano, there really was a problem.
In all the years that I've seen Linda, she's never said anything like that to me. I gotta say,
right.
But you sitting here saying that, I'm like, yeah, actually, she's never said anything.
But that's
like
exactly
that.
what it was, and I went back for a second session, and it was more of that. And it's like, no, it's nothing to do with my mother. There's just like, I have a chemical imbalance of some kind, but I never did. But the thing, I want to be clear, though, because I don't want anyone to take the wrong thing away from what I just told you. I'm not saying you shouldn't go see a psychiatrist. Please, everybody do whatever you got to do. Get whatever help is going to help you. Just because I had a kind of a I don't want to say a negative experience, but a somewhat disillusioning experience doesn't mean I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing that.
No, in all fairness, you encourage me when I go and see Linda. You'll ask me,
right?
How was your session? And just acknowledging that is a wonderful validation for me. That it makes it easier for me to be able to go to a therapist knowing I have the support.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know who would be a great call to follow up on this call for this? And I wish you would call Brian Mackey. I wish Brian would talk like how he talked to me about his years of going through it and then trying to find the right therapist. And, he makes very valid points. Brian makes very valid points. And my thing was Matt, I was there. I was in the same boat. Mm-hmm. Mine was a lot of trial and error. It was going through a lot of psychiatrists to find the right person. And then I found my doctor, who's 38 years old. I'm 32. The first thing we do, we break the cycle. Yo, did you watch the sports game last night? Yeah, I watched it. What'd you think of the score? Oh, it was good. What do you think about the All-Star game? We break we're not coming in there to sit there and say, yo, you got a problem. We're talking like human beings, but we're talking on the level that I understand.
Building rapport. We learn that. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, as you know, and that's one of the things we're taught in our training is building rapport with the client so that they feel comfortable with you and you feel comfortable with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. The relationship that I have with my psychiatrist, dude, if I drank beer, I would take this guy out for a beer because of how awesome he is. He is the picture perfect doctor when it comes to, one, not over-medicating. He's not all about over-medicating. He's not about that. He's just about, let's get you stable and let's find a way to work this out. Because he's cross-trained. He's a psychiatrist and he's a psychotherapist. So he does both.
Yeah.
So, but I can't, his psychotherapy is more booked up than anything. So I see him for the psychiatry part of everything. So
yeah,
that was the other question I had yesterday. I said, if I see him, why is it that I can't see him also for psychotherapy and have to wait months upon months to see him for psychotherapy, but I can come in here every 2 months and see him for psychiatry? That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
But we broke the cycle. He'll schedule me for an hour-long visit, and we'll do a half hour of psychotherapy and then do a half hour of psychiatry stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured out a loophole to get both in for the time that we see each other.
Yeah.
But no, look, I just want to let everyone know it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And it is totally fine. We all go through bouts of stuff.
Yeah.
But look, if you got to talk, you can hit me up on Anthony Richard on my personal page. I would talk to you. I will let you know my personal journey of what I've been through all this, and let you know that it's okay, because everyone goes through it, especially in this time we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
People are in financial burdens. People are losing their jobs. People are just depressed. People aren't enjoying life like we used to. I get it. We can talk. That's one thing that we still have. We have communication. Communication is a very strong thing with therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to release some things to someone, even if you don't know me, it's okay, because I'll release things to you that you don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And it's worked. I've had people reach out to me over the last couple months, and I've made some pretty decent friends, actually, via Facebook from different countries or different states that we've connected over just like, hey, how you feeling today?
Yeah.
Feeling good. How you feeling? Just a simple good morning.
Yeah.
Just a simple good morning to get your day going. That's it.
That's awesome.
It's just, I'm here for everyone, and I hope you're there for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all. I just wanted to let you know my update on what I found out yesterday, and hopefully it starts going to state.
Yeah, well, I hope so. That's wonderful, Tony. Well, thank you for the call, my friend. And hey, you should definitely, because you're on tomorrow, right? The Tony D Show.
It's my wife's birthday tomorrow. We're off. We're going out to dinner.
Oh, well, fine then. All right.
Yeah, it's my wife's birthday, so we're taking a night off, and I'm taking her out to a nice dinner. So
okay,
we'll be doing that tomorrow. And luckily, the place that we wanted to go to dinner, they have the outdoor seating with those heated lamps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was a little weary. I was like, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
Like, we're so tired of ordering out. Like, I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
Tired of ordering out. And I'm so done with well-done pizza.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Yeah. But anywho,
All
now
right.
we're off tomorrow. We'll be back the following week. So.
All right. Very good. Very good.
So, all right, guys. Well, again, it's okay to not be okay.
All right, Tony D. Thank you for the call, my friend. Take care, and happy birthday to your wife.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Tony D leaves us. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton, or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And by the way, Brian Mackey is in the Facebook live chat and said, thank you, Tony D. Brian, all the way from Idaho. Rocky Huber says, in all caps, thanks, Tony D, for bringing up this subject. I'm glad to know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One of the points he raised is really important, and something that I think we can't talk enough about, and that's what this pandemic is doing to people's mental health.
Yeah.
There are people that I firmly believe that the psychological industry is going to end up coming out with new diagnostics or new diagnoses associated with this pandemic.
Yeah.
This is bringing out things that people have never experienced before. What this is doing to our medical community and first responders is insane. The kind of workloads they're dealing with, the amount of death they're having to deal with, the amount of high acuity patients that they're dealing with, they're going to need a new level of care that's not the same as burnout. This is going to be different. I think that that's something we need to be talking about right now. We need to be making investments right now because the need is already here. It's already beyond great. We already don't meet the need. It's only going to get progressively worse if we don't start treating mental health the way that we do your physical health.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne Noel is in the chat room. Wayne is a top fan all the way from Michigan. Texas Mike is in the chat room, says good afternoon. Hello. Let's see. Jenny, you're in there, I see.
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
Miriam Banish is a top fan in the chat room, says howdy. Tom.
She's my nail friend.
Oh, your what friend?
Me and her have been shopping together.
Oh, oh my goodness.
I'm selling you out, Chickie. No, we've been having fun with these this new nail polish stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, this has been fun. This has been fun.
Tom Blanchard is in the chat room. Hello, Tom. Tom was asking, is this a song? I think Tom, not a fan of one of the tracks I opened with today was KRS-One, Squash All Beef.
See, now I like the song.
Me too.
I really do.
Oh, I love KRS-One. Absolutely. But, there's been a lot of beef. Everybody's beefing around here lately. There's...
Peter's been trying to inject people with beef.
That's right.
What is this injection thing? It's so violent.
Easy G versus Jeff Nyan. This morning we were learning all about Gonzo versus John Hopwood. There's all kinds of beef.
I know. It's a terrible thing.
Abigail Jem joins us. Good afternoon. Miriam says, yay, Jenny. Miriam says, I've been a total grump all day. Then I saw Jenny was on, and I couldn't help but smile.
She is so sweet.
Very nice.
I love you so.
Very nice. Angela Philbrook is a top fan. She's in the chat room. She says, good afternoon. Miriam says, my husband went to University of Pennsylvania undergrad, not the hospital, but I know the area well. Abigail Jem says, I imagine COVID is a factor. More hospital workers are in demand, so fewer available to deal with mental health. Right. Well, that's like what we were talking about the other day. It's because hospitals are overwhelmed, obviously, with COVID. That's bound to be a drain on resources.
People are working hours that they used to only have to do if there was an outbreak of something, like, right? There's a whole big flu going on, so a lot of people come in for that. This is like the never-ending winter. It's never, it started and it's never ended, and it's not eased up on them. They're still dealing with so much death, so much sickness, on top of the normal variety of things that you see anyway, in the case of like heart attacks or things of that nature. We really need to be prepared to catch our medical staff, or we're going to be in serious trouble. You're looking at people ending their careers because they can't do it anymore. I have a friend that ended their very long career at a facility and went volunteer because they're just they're done. A couple other friends that I've seen online, people I used to work with that are either not working there anymore or have changed to a different style of profession. But the thing is, before this happened, we already had a shortage of medical workers. We already have a nursing shortage. We already have a specialty shortage. The reason your hospitals are listed as like a trauma level 3 center or a level 1 center is based on the kind of medical care that they have available. There are not that many neurologists. There's not enough neurologists in this world. There's not enough surgeons in this world. There's a lot of things that we need more of. Neurosurgery is a huge one. And now we have this, where people are getting beat up every day at work, like this strain and the pressure on it. If we don't start teaching the new generation, the next generation, if we don't open up our classrooms and get more people into the field, in a very short period of time, we're going to be in serious trouble. We're not going to have the best available medical care for everybody, or so to speak. It's a serious issue, and it really bothers me that we're not talking about it enough, that we're not doing anything to make it better. If anything, we're making things worse in so many ways.
Mike Pelopita, who is a top fan, he's from one of our wonderful sponsors, Queen City Cabinetry. Hello, Mike. Rocky Huber, who's a top fan, points out that's the problem with New Hampshire. We lack the help when it comes to mental health issues. Absolutely. Eric Street is a top fan in the Facebook live chat. Hello, Eric. Rocky says, I've met and talked with many homeless people in New Hampshire. The recurring theme is they just had mental health. If is if they had mental health help, many of the less fortunate would be off the streets. Oh, absolutely. A lot of these homeless people, they're struggling with mental illness or
we treat it like it's a choice.
Yeah.
We treat it like you picked up a needle and decided to become a heroin addict, and that's not what it is.
Right.
Mental illness is an illness. It is a sickness that needs treatment and care. And you should love this person and care about this person and not look at them and treat them like they are walking around with the plague.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. That's our society hasn't changed enough. We're still dealing with these old, hide them in the closet. You don't want anybody to know that Aunt May has got a screw off. They'd hide you in the closet. Those attitudes we're still dealing with, I think.
Abigail Jem says part of the problem is that police and security personnel are not trained properly to help mental health patients, often escalating the situation that should be de-escalated.
Problem is we're trying to make... I'm sorry, Matt. I've been too mouthy.
No, I was saying, yeah, that's true, what Abigail said.
I want to take it a little further, though. Here's the thing. Cops are not therapists. They're not EMTs, but we're putting all the work in their lap for that. Mm-hmm. And what we need to do is have more providers available. Instead of trying to get the cop to know everything, let's have a therapist like they're doing in Europe. Have therapists available that go with, you're responding to a mental health crisis. Someone is having suicidal ideations. Nobody gets to go in the room until the cops come and clear the scene and declare it safe. And that's done to make sure nobody gets shot or stabbed by somebody who maybe they're not just suicidal, maybe they're homicidal. But if we had a therapist to go out there with the cop, the amount of de-escalation and help that could be provided, the amount of knowledge and training that the family members are going to get by seeing in action that therapist and the availability that getting that person to the help that they need would not only save lives, the quality of life in every state that did that would be immensely better.
Rocky says, we complain of people using our sidewalks as a bathroom, etc. Some people need to be told when and where to use the bathroom. Mental health facilities would tell these people when and where to go. Yeah, I think part of the problem, too, with that, as far as, like, if you're talking about the homeless, is they're just, there's nowhere... like no businesses downtown, for example, want homeless people coming in and using their restrooms. So that's kind of.
But we live in a city that locked the restrooms so that the homeless people couldn't use it, and then brought in porta potties. I mean, because you're not good enough to use the real toilet. Apparently, we treat homeless people like they're less than human people. Then what do you expect? Of course, everybody's going to clash. How about trying to work together for a change? Give them a real bathroom and a shower. Imagine that.
Rocky says, Matt, for some of us, we understand that dark cloud, that I was talking about. We also understand you trying to get people to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny. I was thinking about, and my favorite band is Kiss, as longtime listeners know. And both Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley have had a lot to say over the years about mental health, but from very different perspectives, because unfortunately, Gene, as much as I love him, he's someone who's never struggled with depression, so he really doesn't get it. And he has said some really ignorant things over the years. He's talked about, I think he's more enlightened now as he's gotten older, but he's talked about in interviews, like, he doesn't understand why anyone would, you're in America. What's to feel badly about? This is the land of opportunity. How could anyone be depressed? But again, he's an example of someone he's never had a problem with depression himself.
With loving parents.
So he just doesn't get it. Well, sort of. His mother, he never knew his father. But
he was loved and he was wanted, and there was that to start with.
But Paul Stanley, on the other hand, he went to see a psychiatrist when he was, I think, in his 20s, he said in his book, and he has struggled with depression. So Paul gets it. And I saw this dynamic play out once in an interview I was reading, and I think it was in Metal Edge magazine, for those who remember. I don't think that's around anymore, Metal Edge magazine. And there was this interview with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, and it was shortly after Kurt Cobain had killed himself. And the interviewer was asking them about Cobain's suicide. And just right there in that interview, the way Paul and Gene each responded to it was so different that it was like I could see this dynamic playing out in the interview, because Gene is saying things like, yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, the guy was a rock star. He had fame, he had money, he had everything. And then he goes and shoots himself. It doesn't make sense to me, and Paul is like, it's almost like Paul is, it was a print interview, but I just imagine Paul actually turning to Gene while he's explaining that, someone suffering from depression, it doesn't matter all the wonderful things they have. They're suffering from depression. And Gene just wasn't getting it, But again, it's not Gene's fault. I mean, it is in a sense. He shouldn't be ignorant about it. He should learn about it.
Hopefully he's better about it now.
I'm sure I'm sure he is. I mean, this was like, early, mid-90s? When did Cobain shoot himself? Mid-90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like this was around that time.
I mean, now we've had Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
And multiple other, we've had stars that have drugged themselves to death. They've overdosed.
Yeah. Abigail says, my favorite is when people say, well, you're happy now, so you should get off your meds.
Right?
The meds are a tool for my happiness, along with exercise and therapy, just like an inhaler for an asthmatic. Yeah, exactly.
I used to tell this one story, a lady that I went to her house as an EMT and asked her if she had any medical history, heart attack, high blood pressure, anything like that. She says, no. Gives us the medication basket, and what do you see? Hydrochlorothiazide, a medication for high blood pressure. And she says, well, yeah, I take it so I don't have high blood pressure anymore. Yeah. And she meant it. She was very serious about that comment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is there, yes.
Our friend Scott Perry is in the Facebook live chat posting about the Courtesy Call podcast.
Oh, cool.
And there will be a new episode Sunday morning at 10 a.m. up on IPM Nation. Scott does a great podcast all about politics. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should. Dan Lavasser is in the Facebook live chat, says late to the party, but I'm here. Welcome. Jared Martineau joins us in the chat room. Jared says, I used to operate under the impression that to be wrong once is to be wrong, is to always be wrong. After I broke myself free of that thought pattern, I was free to make the mistakes that made me better. To be patient with ourselves is the most difficult part. That's very well said.
Very well said.
Absolutely. And to be patient with oneself
as you're talking about that
as you're making progress.
Recently.
What's that?
We were talking about something like that recently.
Well, I get, as you know, because you've seen it up close, I get frustrated all the time with myself. I want my own progress on things, whatever it is I'm working on, which is usually a lot of different things. I want everything to be perfect yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. Including myself.
Yes, of course.
I want to be perfect, and I want it to have already happened. I want to have already been perfect.
And then go back and tell yourself about it?
I get very frustrated with myself when I'm failing to be perfect.
It's not failing. It's being human.
I know. But but the way my mind works, yes, that is something I struggle with. Yes.
I know you do. And I know the best thing that I can do is be supportive and be there. Mm-hmm. You don't need me to try and fix you,
right,
or tell you what you should do or you should think.
Right.
All you need from me is that's stinky. I'm here. I got a spoon. What can I do?
Right.
And I think that's hard for people is because everybody wants to fix everybody else. And the best thing often for you to do is just not try to fix anything.
Yeah.
But just be there and hold space and say, yeah, I'm here. I got you. What can I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe all you can do is just be there and let them vent it. I mean, we used to talk about that stuff more, venting.
Right.
I think we need to kind of get back to that a little bit.
Fajona Davis is in the chat room. She says, such a great subject because where I come from, we never talked about mental health issues, and I never understood what it meant until I saw it myself. Very good.
Well, yeah, that falls back to, and we're not that far removed from it, families keeping it quiet, keeping it secret.
Yeah.
Auntie May sees a therapist. We're not going to tell anybody.
Right.
They act like that's the crazy aunt,
mm-hmm,
so to speak. Or if somebody was in a facility, they were actually on vacation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell them that they were getting help.
They've gone away for a rest.
Yes.
They're having a rest.
Yes.
Scott Robinson joins us in the Facebook live chat. Scott says, and that is what defunding the police means, take away less responsibility for mental health. Yeah, that's something that not exactly. well, it depends on your interpretation of the phrase defunding the police. Some people think it means literally defund the police. Others think it means, no, it means you're going to reallocate some of that money so that the police are having to do less in terms of mental health, like the example of, the gentleman who was having the psychotic break, and they actually ended up, they accidentally killed him. They put I forget what you call it, over his head. And
the spit mask doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just a spit mask.
And he was having a psychotic episode.
Yeah.
And, but they didn't know how to do, I mean, obviously.
Was that the one that was in the street? Yeah. Yeah, no, that one, I think that he died from it wasn't from the use of the spit mask. No, but they didn't handle him correctly, and that's why he ended up dead. It shouldn't have been. Here's the thing too. Here in New Hampshire, I know that at least I'd like to think that anytime the police are on scene and it's obvious as there's a mental health issue that they're calling an ambulance to come handle this. I'd like to think that we're not doing bad things to people, but my understanding is in our state they can give you ketamine to get you more compliant with the cops, and I am so not a fan of that at all.
Yeah.
At all. There are so many other choices. If you're giving ketamine, it better be for pain.
If I'm ever an issue, I would be fine if law enforcement just offered me food. That's the easiest way to buy my cooperation.
Well, yeah, but you're easy. So there's that.
Rocky Huber says, one reason why I like your show is because I know Matt's just a regular guy like me. I appreciate him being open with his issues. I know us regulars call it family love.
Yep.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, Rocky. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. So what we can do, though, what we need to do as citizens is we need to not just listen to this radio show. You need to call and talk to your representatives, your senators, your governor here in New Hampshire, executive council. There's a lot of money that can come in federally that they get to say yes or no to. And sometimes they don't because they have some high mighty thing they want to stand on and says, well, it's not, we shouldn't take money for that. Yes, we should. Every dime of our tax dollars that can come back to us in the form of a federal grant or some other thing like that, we absolutely should take it back and put it to good use in our state. If we did that more frequently, we maybe would have a better healthcare system. This healthcare system is the way that it is because our state refuses to invest the way that it should to save lives. They put more effort on taking custody of somebody else's property because they arrested them for drugs than they do in trying to save lives in the state for mental health issues.
Civil asset forfeiture, yes.
Absolutely.
Dan Lavasser says meds are hard. Finding the right one, feeling weird and often not yourself really makes it hard to do so. That's what has intimidated me because I've never taken any kind of medication for depression.
Yep. But then in the same token, look what you've been through with me. On the other hand, I've been on multiple medications, and I am on multiple medications that keep me alive. But it was trial and error. Yeah. There were medications they tried that didn't go well with me. And I'll say it openly. There was an incident with one medication they tried me on. I'm not going to disparage stuff. But, Matt, you ended up actually having to grab a hold of me because I was feeling like suicidal ideations because of the medic. It was like day 2 of the med. It was not for me. We immediately stopped it. Doctors were notified, all of that. But it didn't stop me from going on to try something else that the doctor did find that did work for me, and it has made my life better. Yeah. I'm not afraid of medications. I'm willing to try them with my doctor. And I think that's important to talk about too, because sometimes if you have one bad reaction, you go, nope, not going to have anything. Well, I've had a few bad reactions. I've had meds that made me, kissing the porcelain god, getting vomitous. And we had to try something else. But when we find the right combination, look at me now. This is why it's worth it.
Rocky Huber says, I smoke weed. It helps, LOL. Hey, that's,
I'm a medical cannabis patient.
Cannabis is very useful for...
I don't use that word, though, and I would encourage you not to. Cannabis is for medical use is cannabis for medical use. And that is the actual scientific style name. Marijuana or weed are street names that basically politicians who didn't want you doing these things, it's the devil's weed. They give it those names. They demonize it. So if you don't want to demonize it, use the science, call it cannabis.
Brian Mackey says, since moving to Idaho, I had to stop the meds they prescribed to me. They did more harm than good. Idaho is terrible for those with mental issues. Yeah, Brian's talked about that a lot. Like, I guess it's even worse there than New Hampshire as far as mental health resources. It's
mental health
really
across
bad.
This country is bad. No state really has a corner on the market.
Well, no, but in some states it's worse than others. And from what Brian's told me, yeah, it's really, I'm sure he's told you as well, it's really bad. In Idaho, it's like there's nothing. It's
well,
like a mental health desert.
Didn't we look into that with Wisconsin and see that they were missing a lot of stuff too? When you and I had looked towards Wisconsin,
well, I remember
their laws and everything.
Their laws
on
cannabis are very poor.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky Uber says, "Wow, this has been an inspirational type of show. Thanks, Jenny."
Aw.
What about me?
Ha ha.
No, he said he complimented me earlier.
He loves me.
He complimented me earlier.
Yeah, it's all about me.
Actually, he complimented me first. So there you go.
Show off.
Tony D says, so glad to hear it being talked about. I promise to push this issue more and more. You have my word. Bobby Champagne says we are so far behind on this, on mental health. Yeah, absolutely. Jared Martineau posted something in the chat room and feel free to put that on the Unleashed Facebook page itself too, Jared, if you want. And I'll do it too. If I don't know if it'll let you do that or not. But look up your representative and contact them. That's what they're here for. They love it, LOL. Some are more responsive than others, obviously. I think that's why the LOL. Citizenscount.org is the link.
I have to look that up. I've never heard of that site.
Yeah.
I know for those listening here in New Hampshire, if you go to nh.gov, you can find all the links that you want to all of your critters, both elected and appointed. You just click on the legislative branch, and that'll take you right over to your House and Senate critters.
DJ Midas is in the Facebook live chat. Midas, of course, is a top fan and part of the WMNH family. He hosts Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night from 12 midnight all the way to 4 a.m. with a replay on Sunday night. It's a great, great show. Bobby Champagne says they came out with a birth control pill for men. Is that true?
Did?
Oh, he says it's a huge pill that men put in their shoes to make them limp.
Oh, Jesus. That's...
Well played, sir.
All right.
Played.
I see what you did there. Yeah. All right. That was fairly good, actually, I got to say.
They are allegedly working on a birth control pill for men.
Look, just snip and tuck it. It's done. It's over with. Yeah. Snip, tuck.
Well, let's take I want to play another KRS song about beef. This one is simply called Beef. I had to make
Where's the beef?
Because there's been a lot of beefing going on around here lately, with, as we discussed at the top of the show yesterday. That was odd, by the way. Yesterday, Easy G, he calls up to do his entertainment report. And I think, we're going to hear Amanda McCarthy tour dates and this and that, maybe some wrestling. And instead, I'll have to go back and listen to it, but I feel like he spent the entire time talking about beef. Wasn't that odd? It was like, dude.
Yeah, I think he was having a little chippy on the shoulder there.
Why is your report all about beef?
I think he was stewing a little bit in some beef.
Yeah,
some beef stew.
He's talking about stew. He's talking about corned beef, chipped beef. Is that a thing? Raw beef, cooked beef, hamburgers. It's all about beef. I was starving at the end of his report.
Beef.
Yeah, it's like, dude. What's up with that?
I'm hungry now.
Anyway, but I had to make a radio edit of this song. See, KRS-One usually doesn't swear, but this one, he actually says the S word, so I had to bleep that out.
I like that word, and I think it should be given the green light.
Well, no, it's one of the seven dirty words. But, so we'll take a quick break.
That's just lame.
And then we'll come back, but here's a little, this is KRS-One. This is called Beef.
What are we talking about? Come on, man.
Welcome back, everybody. We are well into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org, and, of course, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. You can also find all kinds of streaming options and contact info and so on and so forth at my website, mattconnerton.com. Also, shout-outs to our friends at Raw Talk Online. And, of course, you can find the show after the fact on all the platforming or all the podcasting platforms. Instead, I started to say platforming podcasts. I'm suffering from adult onset dyslexia, okay? Dyslexia. That's not going to work with me. No.
I tried.
I'm going to start doing crossword puzzles to make sure I don't have that happen.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Actually, I know.
Keeping the mind active is always the good thing.
That does help, apparently, from what they claim.
They do. Who are they?
The people. Those people. Them.
Medical peeps.
Yes.
Keep your brain exercised.
That's right. I want to remind you we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. I was thinking today I should start saying we're brought to you by. I feel like nobody says that anymore. We're brought to you by the Hop Knot. A little old
school. The letter
school
H?
No.
The letter
that's
K?
a Sesame Street thing. That's probably a trademark infringement to steal their gimmick. But, yeah, the Hop Knot. You can get delicious gourmet.
Brought to you by the Hop Knot.
Brought to you by the Hop Knot. See, doesn't that sound nice?
I do like that.
Delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine.
Again.
They have those face masks. Those they're only $10. And if you wear your Hop Knot face mask when you go to pick up your order, if you do carry out, you get 10% off.
That's right.
It's like a frequent shopper card that you wear on your face.
You don't have to get stamped.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, you wear it on your face.
Yes.
That doesn't sound attractive, Maddie.
Where else would you wear it? It's a face mask.
Loyalty card on your face. You're going to feed into the psychoses of all of the conspiracy theorists.
Well,
you're going to have there's RFID chips in it now.
Maybe it's
they're tracking you.
Could be the way of the future.
The government knows what you're thinking.
Well, no, the tracker is in the vaccine, not the face mask, right?
You sure?
I thought it
was airborne now, and they put it in our water too.
Oh, that's
inside
true.
The fluoride.
It's part of the fluoride. Yes.
Yes. So when there's like a magic tone, maybe that's why. See, I figured it out, Maddie. The tone that happens on all forms of broadcasting when the government wants our attention, like there's a storm rolling in.
Yes.
The ESS system. ESS?
EAS?
EAS? The EAS system. That's how they're going to activate all of our chips. That's what it is. See, I figured it out. Yep.
Yeah, we haven't had that go off here lately. It goes off whenever there's a storm coming. You hear that. I always hated that when I was a kid. When there was
it was always in the middle of a song.
There was an incident, and I don't know if they still do. We don't have a television. I don't know if they still do this on television.
Oh my God! Yeah, when it would be. Yeah, they still do that
in the middle of a program. Like I'd be watching TV when I was a kid. And
General Hospital.
in the middle of the show, all of a sudden the emergency it would say, "This is a test of the emergency broadcast system," and then it would do the beep, and it would go on for a really long time. And of course, it would flash on the screen the whole time. This is a test. But I think I've told this story a long time ago on the show. But there was this day that it was a Friday, and we were getting ready to go to New York State, Frankfort, New York, where my stepmother's family is. And we would go there, once every couple of months. We would go and spend the weekend there. So it was a Friday afternoon, and, they're packing up the car, and I'm inside watching General Hospital before we go, because I was a General Hospital kid. And I was watching, for some reason I had it on Channel 8. It was on 5, 8, and 9 ABC. And usually I'd watch it on Channel 9, but for some reason I had it on Channel 8. WMTW TV, Poland Springs, Maine.
Wow.
And maybe Channel 9 was doing something else that day, something local that was going on. And for some reason, so it comes on, the tone, and on the screen it says I remember this vividly. It had a graphic of a radio tower, and it just said emergency instructions on radio, emergency broadcast system. And I'm just sitting there like, because I know I've talked about this on the show. I grew up with a obsession is too strong a word, but a preoccupation with the threat of nuclear war. I was very preoccupied with it. My parents let me watch the day after. May or may not have been a good parenting decision. I don't know.
I'm going to say not.
But
given.
But so I remember just sitting there, just frozen, staring at the screen, waiting for what happens next. Because for whatever reason on Channel 8, it didn't say this is a test. It had a graphic of a radio tower and it said emergency instructions on radio. So I'm just sitting there. And then finally, so it gets to the end of it and it says, this has been a test of the emergency broadcast system. I'm like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I thought the missiles were in the air.
Oh, geez.
It was very scary. And to this day, I have that moment where I'll hear it, now it's different. Now it goes, and it's always because there's a storm coming. But then I'm like,
usually.
But then I'm like, oh, are we all about to be incinerated?
I don't think we'll get one of those if that happens. I think we're just going to be incinerated.
I prefer that.
I would too, actually.
I
don't really need the advanced warning.
Yeah, I'd prefer not to know.
Yeah.
But that's how I am just generally about however it is that I die. I'd prefer not to know it's about to happen. That's why.
Well, you won't know. You'll go to sleep.
No. I mean, I don't want to see it coming.
Oh.
I don't want any warning. I don't want to know.
You don't want, like, you have 2 months to live.
No, a terminal illness is my worst fear.
Really?
No, it really is. I don't want to know. I don't want to know when it's going to happen. I want it to be quick.
Well, it's a good thing you're
painless.
not in my skin.
I want to be, look, ideally, I'd like to be shot in the back.
Really?
Yes.
No. That's not a good way to die. You don't necessarily die right away from that unless they hit you the right way.
I have a long-term plan. Look, I've seen enough.
You want to get put into a tree?
No, what I want to do is if I'm hoping that Elon Musk will invent some sort of time travel mechanism, and then if I can get access to that, I'd like to travel back in time to the Old West, because I've seen enough Westerns to know. No, in the Old West, according to the Westerns I've seen, like, you get shot and then you die, like, immediately.
No.
So I want to travel back to the Old West.
A lot of people had more agonizing deaths back then.
I want to be like a bank robber or something, and then I'll get shot in the middle of robbing a bank.
Be all pussy waiting to die.
Because I think that would be a cool way to go, wouldn't it?
No.
Get shot in the middle of robbing a bank, because it's like if you're a bank robber.
No.
Because that's something you've got to have a passion for, right? I'm thinking,
seriously.
if I get shot robbing a bank, I'll die doing something I love, because I'll be like,
you love robbing banks?
Well, no, but I haven't tried it. But if I can travel back to the Old West, I could, if
you could travel anywhere, you're going to go back to the Old West.
I think it would be exciting.
Ew.
I think it would be exciting.
No.
You rob the bank, and then you're riding away on your horse. Yeehaw! I just robbed a bank, and then like a Texas Ranger shoots me in the back, and I won't see that coming, and I'll have died in the line of duty.
Yeah, see, if I get time travel capabilities, I'm going forward. All you goofballs that want to go backwards and see whatever, get out of here. I'm going forward to wherever it is that life is probably a little bit better, probably got more cures for stuff. Maybe I won't get a third round of cancer. Like, I'm going forward, dude.
Yeah, what if you go forward and it turns out that you're in a post-apocalyptic world in the future?
Back.
Well, what if you can't go back?
Oh, well.
What if you go forward and the nuclear radiation has destroyed your time travel machine?
And then I wouldn't have been able to get there. Come on, Maddie. You like science. Don't do that. You're better than that.
Brian Mackey thinks the Old West might be like Idaho. Oh, from everything Brian's told me about Idaho, I'm changing my mind. I don't want to go to the Old West. I don't want to
go to Idaho anymore.
But maybe I should run for office and do
it.
And then somebody will assassinate me.
Then we'll both be honorable. We can be ornery.
I could be assassinated.
My dad was actually afraid of that.
What?
When I was a state rep, I was actually afraid
right.
that somebody was going to harm me in some way.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
So my dad asked me to actually quit.
Yeah.
He was that worried. He was like, what are you doing all that for? They don't even pay you anything for it, And I'm like, oh, Dad, I feel like it's my duty.
I could be struck by lightning.
You could.
That'd be, I mean...
You have a higher chance of getting struck by lightning than winning the lottery, so there's that.
Right. Oh, so maybe that's how I'll go. That's encouraging.
Yeah, I don't know. No. Now, I want to live to be as old as I can possibly be. I want to be ripe old. I want people coming up to me going, tell me what it was like when you were little and they only had TV with a remote.
Right.
It wasn't just shown in your brain or whatever happens.
Oh, that's coming. Yes. That'll be great once we're all microchipped with the vaccine.
Yeah, and then we'll all walk around with chips like the thing we have for our car. You sit in the car and you can start it by pushing a button.
Right.
Because you have the little doohickey. So we'll have the little doohickeys, and only they'll be inside us. And then whatever door we're allowed to go in, we'll just open, and you can walk through and close it back up.
Scott Robinson says if I ran for state rep, he says, then we could refer to you as state rep-elect. Matt Connarton.
Only for a little while. Then you have to go.
I think there's a reference to someone else in that.
No kidding. Do I look like I need a roadmap, huh?
But we don't talk about that person anymore. That person is buried.
Yes.
Buried.
Gone and buried.
Drowned in the Charles River.
Buried.
Yes. Bobby Champagne says, I want to die in my sleep while astral projecting to Venus.
Okay.
That's
a conversation for a whole nother day.
You know that song, The Final Countdown by Europe, with the
Final Countdown.
I hate that song, except
I like it.
The only part of that song I like is I do like at the beginning of the first verse when Joey Tempest sings that line and there's a little bit of an echo on his voice when he says, we're heading to Venus, Venus, Venus. I like that part.
I like the little riff.
I'll astral project with you, Bobby, to Venus. We're going to Venus.
Weirdos.
We have a call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Gary.
Hey,
Hi, Gary.
How are you?
Good. You were talking about going going back and going forward. I'd like to go forward, and I'd like to have a jet-powered hover round.
Ooh. That sounds fun.
Those little cars on the street that all the people have that run you over.
I want the Jetsons car that folds up into its own little compact
I always
bag.
wanted one of those that folded up into the,
the
you put it in
briefcase.
your suitcase and you walk away.
Yep. That's what I want, like a little backpack. You can just put it on, walk around, and then throw it out.
Well, they have jetpacks now, but I'd like the little car,
Nobody's going to let me drive a jetpack.
And then they would make Las Vegas, like Las Vegas.
Ooh, Las Vegas. I like that.
Because then I used to watch that cartoon. That was one of my favorite cartoons.
The Jetsons, yeah. I'd like to...
and Jane, his wife.
I'd like to astral project to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We're leaving Las Vegas.
But if I go back, I'd like to be a cowboy. I always watched Bonanza.
Yeah.
Dusty and dirty.
I always wanted to be the illegitimate Cartwright that nobody knew of,
Trust me, you don't want to be illegitimate. It's not a good way to go.
Well, no, remember
you want to actually be in the family.
Remember Big Valley and Heath? Remember Big Valley? The show Big Valley, and Heath was the unforgotten son that she never knew she had, or whatever, or he came into.
How does a woman not know they have a baby?
I've never.
I get why men don't, but women?
Nobody wanted him, and he was taken over for the other guys on the ranch, and they never liked him.
So I'm aware of the show Big Valley, but Gary, I don't know how old you are. Jenny and I are in our 40s. I'm
62.
Yeah,
I'm an old fart.
We're a little young to know the particulars.
Not that young.
Of that program. But
I remember all the old shows. But Bonanza was my favorite because I always wanted to live on the Ponderosa.
I just wanted to be a member of the family.
Watch Bonanza sometime. It's such a beautiful house.
I feel
the sister got treated so well, like she was just like their little princess.
I feel like I've seen Bonanza. Didn't that run for a really long time?
It did.
Like 50 years?
Long time, yeah.
My
dad still watches it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on one of the old, it's on Nickelodeon or one of those TV whatever.
My TV.
Things.
Yep.
I think
TV or something.
The neighbors know that my dad still watches it because the TV's that loud.
Joel the Moose Elder, the Moose who used to do.
Love that. That was one of my favorite shows I used to like to watch.
The Moose who used to do the morning show with Peter White. He would talk about Bonanza. He likes to watch Bonanza.
Oh yeah, and he hates some of the shows that I used to watch. So
yeah,
Hogan's Heroes and.
Yep.
McHale's
I like
Navy
Hogan's Heroes.
The dumb shows like that. You know?
Yeah.
I watched all of those with my aunties because they were all so much older.
But those were brainless shows that I used to like to just sit there and watch. You know?
We used to do the Waltons at night in the house. It'd be like, "Good night, John."
Oh, I used to love the Waltons.
Be like, "Good night, Dad. Good night, Grandma."
I wanted to be in that family too.
Seriously, right?
I wanted to drive the old truck.
I just wanted the big family
with
hug,
the
man.
lumber. You know.
Yeah.
I love the old shows like that. Little House on the Prairie, no, I'm good. I'm good with Little House on the Prairie.
No, all biting a stick and
I don't want to live out.
Stuff.
And,
yeah, no.
There's a storm coming, and you're living in this little shack, and it's going to hold for winds up to 40 miles an hour.
Look at
70 miles an hour in the valley, and the snow's hitting,
right.
and then the next day.
See, work smarter, not harder.
Beautiful.
Go forward, not back.
Yeah.
Right.
I want my food to come out of them. Boop, there it is. You know what? The supermarket.
So, Jenny, you like to make pancakes?
I love making pancakes.
Yeah,
I make blueberry pancakes at any time of day.
For
11 o'clock at night, I will make blueberry
myself,
pancakes.
I make up little things to do for the weekends. So on Saturdays is Pancake Saturday. So I make a batch of pancakes for myself. I'm alone, so. And then on Sundays, if I want to, it's usually Pasta Sunday, and I make Pasta Sunday.
Oh, very nice.
I make these little days for myself. So.
I hear you. That's a really good way to do things. I do that too sometimes.
Yeah, it helps me. It helps me with my dealing my anxiety and stuff. Today I went grocery
so different
shopping,
now.
and
It's hard when you can't go places, so it's good to have plans.
I went into the store. And then there was this lady, and the music was playing, and they were playing "Get Down on It," and we were walking down the aisle, and I was, near her, and we're 6 feet apart and stuff. I always wear my mask, So we start singing, and then she goes, "Man, we ought to dance to this stuff," and I'm laughing, and I'm looking around, I'm going, because I hadn't been out for a long time, and I was like having a real good time, and she goes, "Maybe we should get the people to start singing with us," and they're kind of looking at us like,
See, I like this person. I try to get Matt to dance with me in the studio all the time, but he won't do it.
No,
he won't do it at all.
Yeah, well, see, I'm an old white guy, and I don't have rhythm to dance, but I can play. I can play Latin music and stuff, but I can't dance. So, and I always want the salsa dance. But I'm 330 pounds. I don't think I can salsa.
Yeah. You never know.
Remember the old show Zorro? Did you ever see Zorro?
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had Sergeant Garcia.
Yeah.
I used to be called Sergeant Garcia when I marched in the muchachos because I was one of the bigger guys. So as we marched down the street, they always used to go, "Hey, there's Sergeant Garcia."
Oh, all right.
So I just look at him and go, "Hola," and they'd laugh, like, "Oh, he's Spanish." And I'm like, "No, I'm French, but what does that got to do with it,
Well, Gary, thank you for the call. We do need
all right, my friend.
We need to wrap up.
I love to listen to you, and you're my favorite show.
Oh, thank you, Gary.
You're my number one people. I love you people.
All right back at you.
I love you, Matt. Love you, sweet Jenny.
Oh,
we love you, Gary.
I was listening to before, and you always take care of Matt and stuff like that. Are there any more girls like this, like you out there? I can't find them.
You're so sweet.
Wow.
You could teach Matt a few things on that one.
Okay. On that note. All right, Gary. Thank you so much for the.
All right, I love you guys.
All right,
I love you a lot. Love everybody in the chat room. I don't have a computer, but I love everybody in the chat room. So have a great weekend.
All right, Gary. Thank you. You too, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, our friend Gary, that was very nice. But we do need to begin to wrap up. You know, we'll play some music, of course, for the changeover. But coming up at 6 p.m. is Granite State of Mind with the great Rob Azevedo, which apparently now is exclusive to WMNH. So,
Yes.
oh, and there he is. Speak of the devil.
I saw someone.
Do you want to, before I wrap up, you want to pop on and tell us what you got coming up?
Awesome.
Well, Rob is here with
get
us.
A little
Let me
preview of tonight's event.
turn that mic up there for you.
Hello.
What's going on, my friend?
How's everybody?
Good.
Jenny,
I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. How you been?
Good.
What part of Massachusetts you from?
Born in Boston, raised partially in Randolph and in down the Cape, Plymouth, Carver area.
You do have the accent. Which one? I wonder
Which
who
one?
has a stronger one, me or you? Because I'm listening to you on my ride down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it comes out.
You
It
do,
comes
you
out.
do have a strong
I never
Mass
noticed
accent,
that. Yeah.
Oh, but you have to hear my sisters. I
really?
am like, how are you, Robbie? Hi, Matt. How are you, Matt? You look good today. Yeah, you got good color.
Yeah.
I'll
give you such a zets you won't see it coming.
Don't get fresh. Don't get fresh with me.
What are you talking about, you Mr. Gana?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you got? Come on.
Exactly. So tonight, Granite State of Mind, we've been doing this takeover thing, and the artists love it. They come in at 6 o'clock, just like regular. They do their 6 o'clock to about 6:30, play their 3-4 songs, right? And then at 6:30, they take over the dials, and they decide to play the songs that have inspired them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so they really, I threw it out there just a couple weeks ago on Facebook, and we're booked up into May as far as art, and they're like psyched about it because they want to come in with their, to be a DJ, there's very few spots out there in the world to be a DJ.
That's true.
And you hold on to it like for dear life.
Yeah.
So
A lot of hard work to get that title.
that's right. And so that they're psyched to play DJ for a day. So we have on tonight Hank Osborne. He comes from Concord, New Hampshire, great singer-songwriter, and he's an older guy, I want to say probably in his 60s, so he's sticking with some Stephen Stills, and he's got some other ones. I'll leave it as a surprise.
Yeah, very nice.
That
Yeah, man.
sounds awesome.
Very nice.
That'd be a nice thing to listen to tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
Starting at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yes.
Then 8 o'clock retro.
That's right. Retro Spectrum Radio with
It's a
Paulie C.
musical night.
Yes, I'll be back for that from 8 to 10. But yeah, so we're going to wrap up this program. If you missed any of it, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. But then stick around on WMNH. Rob Azevedo is up next at 6 p.m. with Granite State of Mind. And Jenny, thank you. And
Thank
you, Jenny.
Thank you to Gary for calling in. And of course, our friend Tony D and everybody in the Facebook live chat. So stick around. Rob is up next. And I will talk at y'all a little bit. Well, actually, I'll talk at y'all tonight on Retro with Paulie C. and Dan Randlett, I believe, is returning tonight as well. And other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe.